When you grew up, Mike, well, you were different when you grew up. When you were in your 18, 19, you were different, right? You wanted to go to college.
Yeah, I mean, I never aspired to be in that life, even though, I was around it. I saw my dad, all the guys.
Well, think about it. If you would have became a doctor, Michael, maybe your life wouldn't have turned, it would have been great maybe, but maybe it would have been like this.
You want to know the truth? Everybody, welcome to another episode with the Wise.
Chazz Palminteri.
And the Wise Guy, Michael Franzese. We're back.
Franzese.
And very excited, as always, to be here. We thank all of you for tuning in. And today we are in, whose place is this now?
This is my place.
This is Chazz's place. We're going back and forth.
We go back and forth. We go to L.A., back to New York, L.A., back to New York.
Yeah.
So this episode, we said, you know what? We're not going to do Machiavelli. We're not going to do any of the books. We're just going to do mob stories. Mob story about things what we did that were crazy. Michael, you had a great story. You were telling me that, what was it like? You had money out on the street. Were you Shylocking back then?
I was big Shylock back then.
Big Shylock.
Oh, yeah.
So besides the gas, you would do Shylocking.
Doing Shylock. I mean, look, anybody that had a decent amount of money would put money out on the street.
But how do you keep track of all the money on the street, Michael? Do you put it in a book?
No, I didn't put it in a book. It was all in my head. Everything I had was in my head. And, there was two ways that I Shylocked. If it was a business guy, obviously I'd give it to him. Whenever I gave a guy money, it was always in business. It was always with the eye that I'd one day be his partner. Because I said, my collateral is, if he doesn't pay me back, I'm going to end up with the business. Now, I don't want you to think that I was scheming to get the business. I may not have wanted it, but at least I know, listen, the guy's a pretty good operator. He's probably going to use the money the right way, except for one time, and I'll get into that. I said, I'll give him the money, but if he fails, I'm going to watch him closely. I'll have somebody on him. We'll take the company over. We'll take the business. That's what I usually did, and I had a pretty good track record. I got paid. I got beat once. I gave a lawyer about $1 million, and he was putting it into second mortgages, and I was getting paid, I think, 12% a month. I was getting good. Ooh. 12% a year, right?
Wow.
It was good money, and I had the mortgages as collateral. When I went to jail, the lawyer and his brother were partners. The lawyer's brother found out he was dying of cancer, and he robbed all the money to give it to his family. I was in jail. I lost every penny of it. And the brother, who I knew well, he said, Michael, I don't know what to do. He said, my brother's dying. He won't even give me the money. And I ended up losing. I lost $1 million when I went to jail.
So his brother died, but he gave the money to his family.
Yeah. And what am I going to do? I'm in jail, his wife, his kids, I don't know what happened. So I let it go. I lost $1 million. So that was one time when it didn't work. Another time, and that wasn't really Shylock money. That was more or less a legitimate deal.
Right. We watch movies, we watch TV shows. If a guy, what was the thing? If a guy couldn't pay 1 week, did you let him slide?
I did, yeah. I mean, because at the end of the day, you want to get your money. And now if the guy's just beating you,
right,
and that's a different story.
He's got to get a beating.
Yeah, then you got to make him know he can't do that. Yeah, and if it's a beating, it's a beating. It's a last resort, honestly. But if it had to be, it had to be.
Did you ever see? I don't know if you could say this. Not your family, but did you ever see a family got him paid? He got whacked.
I didn't see a guy get whacked, but I saw him get beat pretty bad. There was a guy. He ended up getting killed himself in the war. But Nicky, we used to call him Mr. Clean, big guy, bald-headed guy. I went into his club to meet with him one day. He had a bar in Brooklyn, and he was in the back of the room. Some guy owed him money and wasn't paying, and he had a hammer. He had his hand on a table, and he started breaking his knuckles right there. He said, Michael, what do you think of a guy you don't pay? Boom, and he started beating a guy screaming. I saw a couple of things like that. Usually you don't get paid that way either. Because if you're going to hurt somebody, how are they going to go out and make a living to pay you? Whatever
you don't
it
get
is.
paid that way,
you got to look at it different. But one time, guy owned a Chevrolet agency. It was the biggest agency, Chevrolet, in Long Island. It was there for 50 years, Rumplick Chevrolet. The guy that owned it was a degenerate gambler. And I was in the car business, and I wanted that place. So he came to me. His name was Tommy O'Donnell. I don't have to hide it. And he said, Michael, I need X amount of dollars. I said, what are you going to use it for? Well, the company, and I knew he was a gambler, and he was taking money out of his place and gambling it. So I gave him, I think, $200,000 at the time. And I ended up with the Chevrolet agency.
Wow.
Yeah, because he couldn't pay. And I told him, Tommy, you're going to run the place for me. But I went into the office with all the accounting and the bookkeeping. I says, he's not allowed to touch one penny, and don't give him any idea what's going on here. He's a worker. That's it. Because he was good in the business. And then the same guy, I was going to buy, I think it was called the 20th Century Hotel.
Yeah.
You remember that place?
Yeah.
Okay. It was on Tropicana Boulevard there. I was going to buy it, and we were going to timeshare it. The casino in front, timeshare in the back. So I needed somebody with a clean record. I said, Tommy, I'm going to put you in there because you got a clean record. You're going to get licensed. It turns out he had a clean record, but he lied on the license and we never got it. I mean, he lied on the application to
Right.
get the license. We never got the license. So he turned out to be a stiff for me. But so I never made the deal. And then I got in trouble, and that thing fell apart.
And other than the gas business, what do you think the guys in the life made the most money? Shylocking, gambling, bookmaking?
A lot of good bookmakers made a lot of money.
They did.
Yeah, like Fritzie Giovanelli. He was sharp in that business. He made a lot of money, Fritzie. He knew what to do. He was smart. Shylock, and listen, I had a lot of money on the street when I went away. And
Yeah.
why? Oh yeah.
Now, when you
And I
go
used to
away,
give-
they say, we don't have to pay them?
No, well, it's not supposed to be that way. But remember, when I went away, I left. I didn't come back.
That's right.
So I knew that there was going to be some losses there, but I didn't care. I knew what was going to happen.
Right.
And unfortunately, there was some people around me that I said, you know what, these guys are going to beat me anyway when it's over, so I may as well walk away from it.
Yeah. I know
did.
Shylock's, when the Shylock passed away, everybody in the neighborhood was pissed. They said, why didn't I borrow from him? He got a heart attack. The guy got a heart attack. He
Yeah.
died. They were pissed off that they didn't borrow from the guy.
Well, what I would do, my guys, they would come to me, Michael, I got a business guy. I said, look, I don't want to know about your guy. I'm going to give you the money at a half a point or a point as you make sure I get paid every week. You do what you want with it.
You don't want to know nothing.
No, because I didn't want to hear this guy didn't pay. And if I said, I'm giving you the money, I don't care if you throw it in the toilet, whatever you do, I don't want to know who you gave it to. I'm charging you half a point or a point. Just make sure I get paid so I don't have to hear any story.
I watched this guy. I'll never forget. I was sitting there at the table, and the guy said he went to this guy, the character of Sonny. Well, that wasn't his name, obviously. And they wanted to borrow money. He wanted to borrow money from him. And Sonny had a guy that was his guy that would do the money. He said, "Yeah, I give him the money." But I'll never forget the way the guy gave the guy the money. And I asked if I asked for the bills because he said to him, "Is he still alive?" No, Vito's dead. Vito would handle the money for him, and he said he's holding the money like this, and he's going. And the boy, and Sonny just said, "Yeah, give him the money." But now he's got to say his piece, of course. So he goes, tells the guy, he goes, "You're standing up for him, right? You're standing up for him. So if you don't pay, we come to speak to you." He goes, "I'm telling you, Vito, he's going to pay." And he goes like this to the guy. I don't remember, maybe 1,000, 2,000. And he goes like this. "All right, okay." He goes, he counts like 10, and he goes to give it to the guy, go to grab it. And he goes like this. He goes, "Listen to me. I'm telling you right." He does this once, counts it again, goes to give him the guy, pulls it away again. Finally he goes, "We don't want to come looking for you." And I said, "Oh my God." Yeah. And I said to the guy, Sonny, that wasn't his name. I said, why did he do that to that guy? He said, he just wants him to know it's tough money. I'll never forget it.
It's just funny. When I first started out and I started to make some money, I said, man, people are going to be looking at me. You know what I used to do? I used to go borrow money when I didn't need it.
Yeah.
I would go to, Andrew, and I'd say, hey, I need X amount of dollars to do this and do that. I'd borrow it just so they thought, or they didn't think I was doing as good as I was doing.
So you borrowed and you pay him back right away?
Yeah, I paid him back. Paid him the juice, make him earn something, paid him back. I found out I did something that was one of the smartest things that I did. There was a club out in Long Island called Jupiter's. A guy by the name of Danny Colombo owned it.
Yeah.
No relation to Joe Colombo.
Right.
Danny Colombo. Nice guy. So I used to hang out in there, and he says, Michael, I want to put acts in here. He said, but I don't have the money to pay them. I need I want to spruce the place up a little bit. I didn't have any money. I was on trial when I was young, and I had 3 trials. I was broke after that, right? So I went to Andrew. I was a recruit, and I said, Andrew, this is the deal. We're going to put acts. I know Nobby Walters. We're going to be getting acts in here. I said, back then, in the 70s, $3,500, you had the spinners for the weekend.
Oh, yeah.
4 or 5 shows. It was
Yes.
unbelievable, right? I think I borrowed, 15 grand from him, right? For the first, I would say, 4 or 5 months, we didn't make a quarter. Nothing. But every week I went to Andrew. Andrew, here's your cut. $1,000, $1,500. I was bleeding it out of my pocket, or we took it out of the store. I said, listen to me. Boom. Every week I made him earn. And then paid him back when we finally got off the ground. From that point on, anything I wanted, they gave me. Any kind of money that I wanted. Because word got out that I paid my...
Word got out.
And they used to ask me, Michael, you need anything? You need anything at all?
Because he knew.
He knew he was going to get paid.
Another
time, a guy comes to me. This guy, everybody I'm talking about ended up getting killed, but he had a catering hall, so he comes to me, and he says, Michael, I got a load of meat, big load of meat. He said, you think you can sell it? I said, I'll get rid of it for you. Oh. So a guy, his name is Tommy, he comes to me, he says, I got a load of meat, can you sell it? I said, yeah, let me see if I can move it. So at that time, it was in my head, I'm a young guy, recruit. I go to Andrew to put it on record that I got this load of meat. So he says, all right, go sell it. He says, and when you sell it, let me know how it goes. So I go and sell it. I'm not exact. I think I think I sold it for $6,500 or $7,000 or something like that. So I take the money, I give it to Andrew. He says, okay, so I'll get back to you. I give him the whole thing, right? Comes back a day or two later, he gives me $600 out of the $6,000 or $7,000, right? I said, $600. I didn't say a word, right? Because I didn't know if it was my place or not. I went to see my father afterwards. I said, Dad, $6,500, $7,000. It was my score. They give me $600 back. He said, Michael, from now on, he says, you don't give them all the money. You make a score. If they don't help you in any way, you give them 25%. Right off, just give it to them. Just go in, don't report, say, hey, I made a score, here's your end. Period. And so that was the formula. If I had something on my end that I did by myself, they got 25%. If I needed them, then I would put it on record and say, look, I need your help. I need a few bucks, whatever. And that's how I did it. Even in the gas business.
25%.
25%. That was yours.
You know, Nobby Walters was my agent. You know?
He was.
I told you.
He was something, yeah.
He was something else. Nobby Walters was, I was with Nobby Walters for a long time. Yeah.
I got to tell you this story with Nobby. I've said it before, but you remember when Nobby had the Nobby Walters, that club
Absolutely, yeah.
next to the Copacabana?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, my father was partners in there.
With Nobby?
According to my father, he was a partner there, right? Now, I knew Nobby my whole life. He was Uncle Nobby to me when
Uncle
I was younger.
Nobby.
So I knew him all my life, right? And I liked Nobby. He was a character,
Never
right?
too big.
A character. So, and his brother Walter Walters, remember, down in Miami. So my father comes home. Nobby's not paying. He goes into the agency business. He represented all the top black talent.
Represented me.
Everybody. You, Dionne Warwick, you name it. Marvin Gaye. So my father says, what are you collecting off of Nobby? I said, Dad, I don't need no money off of Nobby. I enjoy, he gives me tickets, anything I want. I have enjoy with him. I'm his partner in that agency business. I said, Dad, when you come home, straighten it out. He's, no, you're letting him get away with it. He told me that. Corky Vastola, I don't know if you remember Corky. Yeah. Nobody's using your name. You don't take any money from him. I said, I don't want to take any money from him, right? That was my choice. Junior, but they all wanted to kill Nobby. I'm not kidding. Corky and Junior wanted to kill him because he uses our name. He never pays
So
up.
he did use your name.
He did. Oh, yeah, he did. Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah.
So, but there's times when I let him use my name. I didn't care.
Yeah.
The Michael Jackson tour, when he had the tour in '84 and they were looking to take it away, I went and spoke to managers for him. There was a lot of stuff I did with Nobby. So anyhow, my father comes home. So let's go see Nobby. No, that's not good, right? So we go to the Stage Delicatessen. You remember the stage on 6th
right around
Avenue?
the corner.
Yeah,
I know where
7th Avenue or 7th Avenue.
Yeah.
And we meet Nobby. And it was nice. Nobby's sitting on the other side of the table. My father's here and I'm here. And so all the nicety stuff gets over. Sonny, I'm so happy to see you. Look, blah, 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 blah. And Nobby says, my dad says, so where's my end? And Nobby says, well, what do you mean, Sonny? He says, I'm your partner. And Nobby says, well, Sonny, I don't really remember it that way. So my dad says, if I put a bullet in your head and your head falls on that pastrami sandwich, will you remember it that way? Just like that. And Nobby's eating his pastrami, turned white. I'm telling you, white.
Oh.
So I turned to my father. I said, Dad, look, Nobby and I had a conversation. I want to tell you before we got here. He's going to do the right thing from this point on. I said, we're doing a concert together. I was talking all this stuff. I was making it up. My father was mad, and Nobby was scared. I said, he's going to do the right thing. I said, let me handle it. Is you responsible for him? I said, no. I said, but I'll handle it. I said, no. I said, but let me handle it, right?
Wow.
So from that point on, Nobby, I'm telling you, he turned all different colors.
Did Nobby pay up a little bit after that?
He did and he didn't. Nobby did not do the right thing with us afterwards without getting into that whole thing, and I liked him because...
I like him a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I'd get tickets. Any ticket that I want, he would give to me. Not to pay me. I said, Nobby, I want to say, oh, don't worry about Michael, you got it. Marvin Gaye, this and that, and that, whatever you want. Front row seat. So I liked him for that. I didn't need the money off.
The funny thing about all these great stories, I remember a great story was we were playing AC Ducey. You remember AC Ducey?
Yeah.
You had to get the card in the middle.
Yes.
And so we're all playing it, and this guy Mario, I'll never forget his name, Mario Donio, he's dead now.
You realize how many times we said that?
How many said that? You said guy,
dead.
He's dead. He's dead.
I guess there's nothing to laugh
Well,
about.
it was suicide, but I don't know. 2 shots in the back of the head. How we got the second shot off, I don't know. He wins all the money, all the guys. And he was with us, but he wasn't Italian, and it pissed everybody off. And he only knew us maybe about 10 years. We all grew up together, and we're all pissed off, we said. We got it. So we go, I'll never forget it. My friend Fast Eddie, who's alive, thank God, and my friend Ray, he's dead. Anyway, so he goes, we got to get the money from Mario. And I said, well, what are we going to do? He goes, here's what we do. He goes, we all go to the park, the Botanical Gardens. Like we're in our 20s. So we all go to Botanical Gardens. This guy, Stevie Sancherico, never forget him. He goes, Stevie, you stick us up and get the money from Mario. And then we'll come back and we'll split it. And we said, all right, that sounds good, right? So we go to the Botanical Gardens. And on our way there, Mario goes, hey, man, I don't want to go in the park. He goes, I got all this money with me that he won in the game. So he goes, all right, never mind. So he takes the roll of money and he sticks it in his shoe, like his sock where his shoes are. And we see that. My friend sees that. My friend Ray sees that. So I said, oh, shit. Right. So we get to the park. Now we're walking through it. We're walking in the dark in the woods, right? All of a sudden, this guy comes from behind a rock. He's got a stocking on his face. You ever see a guy with a stocking? He was scared of shit out of him.
Scares you, yeah.
And he has a gun in his hand, legitimate gun, and he's talking with a Puerto Rican accent. This guy, Stevie, he was like dating a Puerto Rican girl. He had a terrific Puerto Rican accent. Fucking you guys, get against the wall, get against the rock. And we're like, whoa, take it easy with the gun. And meanwhile, I'm going, is this Stevie? You know, I'm going, holy shit, is this him? So we put our hands up on the wall like this, right? So he's going down the line, and he's putting his hands in my pocket, taking out my wallet, you know, because you got to make it look good, right? Taking out the money. He gets to Mario, puts his hand in his pocket, money's not there. He's going, so now Mario's got his head, he can't see. So he's looking down the line of all of us, and he's going, like, where's the money? My friend Ray's got his hands up on the rock, and he goes, Mario, you give him that money in your shoe. I'm not dying for you. So Stevie goes, take your shoes off. He goes, everybody, take your shoes. We took our shoes off, and he took the money out of his sock. But then we all went back to the neighborhood and we split his money. But, you know, you think of things like that, you know.
Crazy, right?
When you grew up, Michael, was that, when you grew up, well, you were different when you grew up. When you were in your 18, 19, you were different, right? You wanted to go to college.
Yeah, I mean, I never aspired to be in that life. Even though, you know, I was around it. I saw my dad, all the guys, and, you know, they would tell me stories. And one guy said, Mike, you ain't going to school. Who are you kidding? Fuck, yeah.
Well, you're going to be a doctor, right?
Yeah, but I told him, you're not going to be a doctor. Some of the guys, you know, don't tell your father I said that, but you're not going to be a doctor. You know, a lot of guys said that.
Well, a lot of guys said that.
He said, we could see who you are, you know. And the guys would tell me, you're afraid
well,
to
think about it. If you would have became a doctor, Michael, maybe your life wouldn't have turned, it would have been great maybe, but maybe it would have been like this.
You want to know the truth? I wanted to be a doctor more because my father and mother wanted me to be a doctor than I wanted to be a doctor. This is what they wanted. All right. You know, I always looked to please my dad for whatever reason. I always did. But was I passionate about it? Did I really want it? Obviously not, because if I did,
but was he okay about you being in life? He was okay with it.
Not initially, but when I went to see him in Leavenworth and I said, Dad, I lost interest in school. He was mad at me because I got arrested. I was on trial 4 times by the time I was 22 years old. And he,
for what?
Grand larceny, all nonsense, but baloney stuff, but stuff I could have went to jail for.
Sure.
And he was so upset with me. He said, you're ruining your life. You got more pinches than me at 22. Oh, he was so mad. Every time I went to see him, what'd you do? Blah, blah, blah. And he says, how are you going to go to school? I said, Dad, I don't want to go to school anymore. You know, I said, you know, I was hanging out. He was very upset. I was hanging out with guys from the league.
Is this going to be in your movie, Michael? All
yeah,
this?
Yeah.
You got to put this in, Michael.
Yeah, it's going to be there. And I hope you're going to be in it.
Well, I hope so. We'll see. Yes.
But, you know, I'm hanging out with all the guys, and I got into it. You know, that Italian-American Civil Rights League, that's what really got me. I'm walking the line. I'm meeting with all the guys. Right. They're taking me out. You're not going to be a doctor, Michael. Who are you kidding? Your father's dying in jail if you don't help him out. They would say it like that. The guys who really liked him. Right. They said, how are you going to do this going to school? You're going to be a doctor. And then they were, you know, you want to go on a score? I mean, a lot of guys, you know, were talking to me like that. So I'm doing this for over a year, walking that line, going to the meetings at the Park Sheridan Hotel. Then I got pinched on the line. I was the first guy that got locked up on the line. I had a fight on the line. I'm walking across the street with my mother and my girlfriend, and some guy across 3rd Avenue, and some guy yells out, you guinea bastard, right?
To you?
Yeah, to me. Because they were yelling at all of us because we were blocking the street. So I yelled back at him, and there's a cop standing there, and he said, hey, what are you starting trouble for? I said, what do you mean starting trouble? You heard what the guy said. And he starts calling me names.
The cop?
Yeah, the cop. So I call him a name back. He says something, and then like an idiot, I threw a punch at him. I just got angry. I threw a punch at him. Oh, forget it. takes out the billy stick. All the cops come
Back
over.
then they
yeah,
hit you,
oh
they
yeah,
whacked you.
they were hitting me, and then they picked me up and dragged me into the paddy wagon. Joe Colombo happened to be there that day. He was on the line for a little bit every day. He had the line break and surround the paddy wagon so the paddy wagon couldn't leave. And for like an hour, Joey negotiated with the cops to let me, you know, he wanted me to get out. They wouldn't let me out. They said, hey, he hit a cop. We're taking him in, you know. But what happened, they tried to smooth it over. Anyway, they take me in, they process me. I'm in there, and the guy that was processing me says, hey, your father's waiting outside for you. I said, my father ain't waiting outside for me. My dad's in jail. He said, your father is out there. I said, my father ain't out there. I'm arguing with the cop like a jerk in there, right? It was my grandfather out there, right?
Oh.
Yeah. Because they wanted me to release him to him. Anyway, you know, so I came out, and my dad was so upset. Can you get arrested? This is your fault. He's really giving it to me. It turned out Barry Slotnick represented me. And
Barry Slotnick.
Yeah, they broke it down to, I think, harassment or something. I paid a $250 fine. But Joey, you know, he really took a liking to me, and so I got very friendly with him. And I no more school. That was it for me. You know, I was done.
You were done.
I was done. So I went to see my father. I said, Dad, I'm not going to school. Right. And that's when he proposed me, went through the whole thing.
Michael, there are people that like to know this, and that's why I want to ask you this question. When did it become, because years ago, you could only become a made man if you made your bones, right? You whack somebody.
Yeah.
When did that change if you were an earner that you can make it?
Honestly, Chazz, it never changed. But here's what happened. It's very simple. It's mathematical. What do I mean by that? From 1950 or so until 1975, the books were closed. They weren't bringing in any new guys. That was the expression.
From 50 to 75, 25
yes,
years,
25
nobody
years.
became a made
The
guy.
only time you were able to make a guy is if somebody died in the family and you replaced him. That was it. So there were guys waiting, a lot of guys waiting 20, 25 years to get made, right?
Right.
When I got made in 75, that from 75 to 80, they must have made a couple of hundred guys, maybe in all the 5 families. There wasn't enough guys to kill. Thinking about it.
Wow.
You know, and then me, Joey Colombo's kids, Persico's kids.
All got made.
We all got made. So you can't just go around and show, you go kill somebody so we can make you. You know what I
Let me
mean?
ask you a question. For a person to get made, Michael, does your family have to make you or another family could make you?
No, what happens, well, it's not your family until you're made. Understand? You could be an associate of a family, but it's not really your family until you're made.
Okay.
Meaning this, no, here's what happens. When they're ready to make you, they put your name on a list, on a piece of paper, and they send it around to all 5 families.
To the bosses?
Yes. And they say, if there's any objection, do you know anything about this guy, the reason that we shouldn't make him? It's kind of a security thing. When they did that, I got an objection. And I got an objection from Jimmy Knapp. He was a guy there. He said, Michael's from my neighborhood. He shouldn't be made with his father. I want to make him with us. That was his objection, no other thing. And naturally, they squashed it, and I got made with the Colombos. But if there was a reason, if somebody knew something that a guy shouldn't be made, they're supposed to come forward and let you know. So other than that, you're made with the family that you're proposed with.
So you could earn after 1975 and become made?
Yeah. But there's no, again, for your listeners, let me tell you, if you're given an order and there's violence involved, you got to carry it out.
What happens if you don't?
You got to. If you don't, well, think about it. You're told to do that. You don't do it. Now you know if somebody wanted you to kill somebody and you didn't do it, you're in trouble.
You get whacked?
Oh, yeah. You can't refuse. Absolutely. You know that coming in.
Another thing, is it a myth or is it real? When you go to jail, they take care of your family. Some people say yes, some people say no.
Myth.
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 Bullshit.
Myth. Whatever you had on the street, hopefully you have somebody in place to take care of you, to take care of it. In other words, my dad had money on the street when he went in. He had it until it ran out, and then he didn't have it anymore. Nobody took care of him. Nothing.
No, and it's always been that way.
Always.
So that's a myth that we take care of our own.
Not true. Not true.
Not true.
Now, you can choose to do it, but listen, remember, a lot of guys go to jail. You think, the family is there being so benevolent, taking care of all these guys? No, absolutely not. As a matter of fact, a lot of times you got to pray that nobody's robbing you because you're in jail. You know, you don't lose everything. And I told my dad, he said, Mike, when the money runs out, I'm done.
Well, what about if the wife goes to a wise guy that she needs a problem? Somebody
Well, you know, they can. They don't have to. There's no obligation, no. No, that's a myth. Everybody, the family's going to take care of you. My dad told me straight out, when the money runs out, we're done. Nobody paid for his lawyers or anything else like that. And it ran out.
So then why is it they don't expect you to rat?
No.
Is it a myth or is it real?
That's a myth.
We get the inside dope from Michael Franzese. Well, Michael, that's it. That's another episode. Is it a myth or is it real? And Michael will say it.
That would be a good one.
That'd
About
be a
a
good
lot
one.
of
We
things.
should spend an episode on that, Michael.
You know, I got to tell you, you're watching the TV series The Offer.
Yes.
You know what fascinated me about that, Chazz?
Yeah.
I mean, the story, they took dramatic liberty. I thought the acting was great, and I thought the storyline was good. We understand now. But what was showing me was the parallel between the way the mob operated and the way the studio system was. Remember how cutthroat in the studio? You know that life as well or better than anybody. I think that's a good episode. Myth or reality, both in your line of work and what we did.
should do that.
Yeah.
We're going to do that. Is it a myth or is it real in the mob life and in show business?
Because the reason I say that too, you know how many people come to me, oh, Michael, I got the best story in the world. I'm going to make a movie. Yeah. And
Everybody's got a story.
And I laugh.
Well, how about this one? How many people have said to you, Michael Franzese, I grew up exactly like you, I have the same story as you? How many people have said that?
I can't even count how many people.
I said, well, then, I get people come over to me, you stole my story. I said, you should have wrote it.
Yes.
You screwed up, babe. You should have wrote it.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to be back next week with some more from Chazz Palminteri.
The wise.
And Michael Franzese.
The wise guy.
That's right.
I beat you to it.
You beat me to it. We'll see you next week. And don't forget to subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. We got a lot of good stuff coming.